control buttons down, took out the vents, took out the radio, took off my A-pillars. They actually were already off, so that's convenient. Took off the home link buttons and the sunroof and the lights right there. Took off my mirrors. Now it's got plenty of room for me to get my wiring in there for the front DVR camera. Okay. So now I removed the glove box so I could run my wires extension that comes with the Avant 2. Now I'm going to use that extended USB to run my front DVR camera. So this wire is I'm going to run it across here, and then it's going to come over here and up the A-pillar and over to the mirror basically. Alright, so I ripped down all the insulation in the trunk. I fed my wires through there for the reverse camera. Fed the wires across here, down right on this corner, and here they are hanging out here. I'm going to slide them through this tube, and then they're going to go into the car. Alright, now I got the wire run through here. It didn't really fit, so I cut a hole and slid it through there, and then I cut a hole again, slid it through there. I got a little RTV silicone to stop any leaks. And then I ran it through here. It follows this, and then it comes out inside of the car. That's where it comes out. And then I'm going to follow it down here, and it'll go up through the B-pillar, past the B-pillar, I should say. Alright, here's what I did with my wiring for the reverse camera. I soldered the red wire onto the gray wire with a brown stripe. That gray wire with a brown stripe used to be connected down here on the left. It's number 2 in that photo on the DIY PDF. And then I connected the black wire right here. It's hard to see the other side, but the other side is a brown wire that it's connected to. That brown wire used to be up here, number 1 in the PDF. And then the other wire that was connected to this piece next to number 1, I just simply cut off the end and just put some shrink tubing on there so that it doesn't get wet or ground out or do anything weird like that. So all these wires are good to go now, and I'm just going to tuck them back in there, put the cover back on, and then I'm going to silicone around there to make sure it stays nice and watertight, or airtight. Alright, so back at this, got it all connected like I showed you last time. And now I got this all siliconed. I got put silicone all around there and filled every little crack and crevasse, so hopefully it stays watertight. It's not my prettiest work, but it should function. The hardest part about the silicone was to get the silicone in between the lip here and the camera. And basically I used a screwdriver and kind of shoved it down in there. And then I did end up getting a little bit of silicone on the camera itself, but I quickly wiped it off and it seems to be fine now. There's no smears or anything, it should be good. Alright, now here's the back of this thing. My reverse camera went in. In the instruction PDF, the guy runs the wires through under here and brings them out right here. Right, this area around right here is very tight for the wires to get through, and I was afraid it might pinch it. So I felt much more comfortable there's actually a hole, just like that one. I kind of just cut out the edge so that I could fit the wire into it. And that's where I have the wire. I'm just going to slide it right out, and if I show you on the trunk, it'll slide right into there and it'll have plenty of room, so nothing will get pinched that way. I also noticed that my lens on this side for my license plate, it was broken and it was all corroded and not looking very good in there, so I replaced that with the one that I took from this side. It fit perfectly, So hopefully it'll keep some of that water out of there and it won't get corroded anymore. But it might be a good idea for you guys to look at that while you're at it. To do that, you just put a screwdriver in here, push it this way, and pull up on it. Alright, I got the trunk handle back on, as you see here. There's the reverse camera on the right side. You can see the 4 bolts that hold it on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those bolts are held in with a T15 Torx. And then I ran my wires through the back there and then down into the middle. And I'm going to connect them right there and keep everything tucked up top. Alright, so I thought of a slightly different approach to attaching the power and grounds to the reverse lights over here. Instead of just tapping in, I hate using taps, I don't think they ever work as good as I like them to. I decided to take the plug apart, which, to do that, this little white clip had to come out first. It slides down, this little white clip slides right there, and basically, to get it off, you have to squeeze these 2 tips together in between my fingers there, just slightly, and then it just pops right out. There's tabs on both sides, you gotta squeeze them together and just pull it out. Pretty easy. Just be careful so you don't break it, it's not very strong. And then, to get these wires out, I used a pick tool, like this. Push on the little tab right there, pull the wire out, that's how I got this one out. And then, what I did is I wrapped the wire right around the base of the connector here, so that it gets power from that power for the reverse lights. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a little solder on there just to make sure it holds on tight. And I already tested it and it slides right into the piece and has plenty of room. So this is what I'm going to do for mine. I don't know if this is the best idea, but I prefer to do this over taps. Alright, I got the finished product here. The 2 wires are back in place. I still need to put that white clip on. Do that right now. Clicks into place. There you can see what I'm talking about, how to get it out. Looks good to go. Plug it back in. Alright, now all I have to do back here is tuck away all these wires. I'm just going to tape them up and zip tie them out of the way, back inside the trunk here somewhere so that you don't see them. Even though there's a cover that covers all that crap up anyway, I'm still just going to clean them up a bit. Alright, I just got the front DVR controller installed. As you see, when you're sitting in the driver's seat, looking in the rearview mirror, you can't really see anything. You don't notice the camera at all. But if you look back there, there's the camera. Right now it's facing downward, but once you get it plugged in, you can adjust the angle. So, now that everything's hooked up, I got this big mess of wires and the unit sitting out. I'm going to test it one last time before I put everything in, but I think everything's good to go because I already tested everything once except for the front camera. So we'll see how it goes. Alright, so I just got everything testing. As you can see, got the radio playing right now. I'm going to test some of my controls here. As you can see, I'm using the steering wheel to adjust the sound, so steering wheel controls work. I'm going to test the reverse camera, so I'm going to throw it into reverse and see what happens. As you can see, my reverse camera is on, although my trunk's open, so it's just facing the roof of my shed, or my garage right now, sorry. Let me get close to the trunk. So there's the final product with my wiring there. See, the camera's lit up, so that's a good sign. The wiring, the lights must have worked, that means. There's 4 LEDs on there actually. So that works good. Alright, I got one last thing to test here, and that's the front camera. So what you do there is you go to the home, or you hit the back button, and then this brings you to this screen. You just flip over till you find your tachograph app. Looks like this. Click it, and there's my front camera. Still facing the wrong way. Need to adjust it, but it's working, so that's good. I wanted to show everybody one more thing before I button everything up here. I basically just put some electrical tape around all these wires that I won't be using. I also put some electrical tape around my antenna. Not that it's powered or anything, but I just don't want other things that might have power touching it. Also, the red wire that's connected to the reverse camera right here. Here's the plug for the reverse camera. I taped that up also after I connected it. And the red wire that comes out of there for the power, you connect to the green wire on here that says reverse. And basically I cut the connector off and I soldered and shrink tubed them, and then I just taped it up in here so it's inside of there. That should do pretty good. And I also realized that there's not really any point to mount things on top of the unit itself, except for maybe this CAN bus interface right here. Everything else, I'm running an extension. Right here I have a plug-in for the auxiliary, and it actually splits, so I could have 2 auxiliary ports. I'm not sure if they'll both work, but at least one of them will, so that's all that I really care about. And then I also put in the extension for the USB, so now my USB will be over here in the glove box as well, all accessible, along with the iPod hookup and the other USB that is plugged into my front camera. So what I plan to do in the near future is get a port so that I can attach more USB connections, and I'll get 4 USB ports basically plugged into that one. Alright, so I'm about done. All I need to do is tuck away all the wires, and I'm working on getting my wires for the front and reverse cameras tucked away here before I put the glove box back in. And it looks like this area is pretty open right here, so I think I'm going to tuck all the wires back there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zip tie the wires onto this loom right here, and then I'm just going to tuck everything back here because there's plenty of room. So basically all this junk will be back here then, and that'll be pretty good, and then I'll just have... Alright, so the only things I'm going to have hanging inside of my actual glove box is this. I attach this 4 USB hub to my USB extension, and then the iPod hookup, and the auxiliary. Alright, I got the unit in place now. I have the CAN bus piece. I used some Velcro. Just a couple pieces of this stuff to hold it on the top. I tucked the navigation wires over here on the right. Most of the other wires I tucked over here on the left, like that big bundle. And everything seems to be good to go now. I just need to put the vent back in. Also, these wires that lead to the glove box, I had to route them, I had to move them a little towards the back so that they wouldn't get caught on anything. They were getting caught on the fuse box, so I slid them a little bit towards the rear. Now they seem to be play free, so I don't think they'll be pinched or anything like that. Alright, so I finally got everything buttoned up. I just gotta put my trim on yet, but that's about it. It's hard to tell here because there's crazy glare, but that's my garage door. That's my front camera working. Put it in reverse. Boom, there's the rear. And what really surprised me is how fast it goes back from the reverse camera to forward as soon as I come out of gear. You can probably hear me shift it out of gear and listen to how, or see how fast it goes back to the front camera. It's pretty much instant. The rear takes a little bit longer, but it's still pretty quick. That's about it. Everything seems to be working. I'm going to take it for a spin and test out some other stuff.